Hi, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're gonna talk about how you can make a great first impression. If you're new on my channel, make sure to subscribe because I will release a video on this topic every week on how you can improve your social life and how you can make friends. So if this is something that interests you, make sure to subscribe. That way you will be notified every time I'm releasing a new video on this topic. Also follow me on Instagram, because on Instagram I'll give you tips and ideas how you can improve your social life and making first great impression so you can meet people in a much easier way. And I also reply to all the DMs, so if you have any questions, send me a DM and maybe I can help you out. If you're not able to make a great first impression, it's really difficult to change that in the people's mind, because the first impression is how people see you. So it's very difficult to change that once you've made a bad first impression. So make sure to watch this video until the end, because then you will have a lot of new ideas how you can make a great first impression. The first thing I want to talk about is your appearance. How are you dressed? Are you dressed properly to the environment? And do you have a nice haircut? These things are super important. So if you're going to a professional meetup, then you should be dressed up so you fit into that environment. Also, how are you doing with your body language? Do you have a closed body language or an open body language? Because that's super important as well. If you have a closed body language, it just shows lack of confidence and people won't get a great first impression of you because it doesn't invite people over to talk to you. But if you have a relaxed and open body language, then you will actually encourage people to go over to talk to you. So it's important to have an open body language, but it's also important to maintain eye contact, especially when people talk to you, because if you're just looking away sometimes, it just shows a lack of confidence and people can feel that. So make sure to maintain eye contact when people talk to you, and in general also be smiling a lot, because that also shows confidence and gives up a great first impression. So these are some less obviously signs, but super important, but you might not think about it if you're not aware of them. So now you can change that, so you actually change these things so you will make a way better first impression. When it comes to talk to new people and make great first impression, is it super important that you are loud and clear. Because if people have to invest more energy to understand you and listen to you, then they won't, and they will get a really bad impression of you. It will tell the other person that you're not used to be around people, and it comes off really bad. Also, you should have the right tonality. So you can say the same thing two different ways, and it's important that you say it the right way with the right tonality. Here's an example. What's up? How are you doing? Or what's up? How are you doing? You can hear the tonality go up in the second example I gave you, and that just shows confidence and gives up a better vibe. First example, the tonality goes down and it actually comes across a bit creepy. Also, when you talk to new people, you should repeat their name in the conversation, because everyone likes to hear their own name, and that's also a great way for you to remember their name. By once in a while, repeat their name into the conversation, because that way you will make them feel good and they will associate that with talking to you. Next one, and this is very important, that I see many people go wrong. Be interested before interesting. Listen to what the other person have to say and give them space to talk about themselves, because people love to talk about themselves. So if you actually ask them curious questions about themselves, then they will open up and talk more about themselves. But don't go into interview mode and ask them a lot of questions, because then they will think it's weird and actually think it's this a job interview or something like that. So make sure to mix it up, also doing statements like, oh, okay, I can see you're working in IT. That sounds like a great profession. You're probably working from your home these days. How is that going for you? You see, you're making a statement instead of just asking, do you work from home? You know, you're assuming they will. And then you just avoid getting into interview mode. Let people finish. Don't just cut them off just because you have something in common, because that just shows you can't read social cues and you won't make a great first impression. Let them finish about themselves, because they will give you space to talk about yourself. Try to actually be a good listener and listen what they have to say instead of just waiting for your turn to speak. I see a lot of people do this. They just wait till it becomes their turn to speak. This is not how it works. Also, by giving them space to open up about themselves without you cutting them off, they actually appreciate that, and they will give you space afterwards to talk about what you like to talk about. Always just assume that you have the value, that people want to talk to you and is interested in what you have to say. Because then they will ask questions about your life and your passions, so you can talk about that. Also, lower your expectations, because if you're going into a conversation and want something out of it, people can feel that and it doesn't come across as very good. So you should just go into the conversation coming from the mindset of just being curious to get to know a new person. Also, calibrate and be empathetic and show them that you understand the social situation. Look at their facial expression. Maybe they are looking away sometimes, then you might bore them out and you might spike the conversation up a little bit to catch their attention again, because it's a clear sign if somebody looks away that they are feeling bored. So you should make the conversation more entertaining for them. Also remember, if you were the one who talked to them first, then it is your responsible to make it entertaining and fun for them. You went up there and talked to them, so it's your responsibility. Also read their body language. If they're taking a step back, then you should also take a step back. Or at least you shouldn't make a step towards them. Some people can talk close to each other, but some people just need the space. And you need to be able to see these signs so you won't cross any lines. Just show the other person that you understand the signs they give you. Also, be a good storyteller, because that's a great way to catch people's attention. If you have a great experience you want to share, don't be afraid to describe it more in details, how you felt and how the experience was. Really paint a picture in their mind, because people like to hear experiences as stories if you know how to tell them right. So really paint a picture about how that experience was. Maybe you had a travel experience you want to share with people. Also, one thing that's super important, you never know how the conversation will go until you try. So you can overthink the situation in your head 100 times. You will never know before you actually go up to them and talk to them. And then you can calibrate afterwards and adjust along the way. Also, combining all these ideas I just gave you, then you will make a great first impression. And also, that way you will come across as having high status, because people can feel that you used to be around people, so you must have been doing this a lot and you know how to talk to people and behave in social environments. And that's one of the best signs you can give in a conversation and when you're making great first impressions, that you have high social status. But of course, this can be difficult to put into practice and know how to apply it out in the real world. And it also takes time to learn this. If you don't know how and where to start to implement these things in your situation, and you don't know how to have a conversation, this is actually what I teach my clients. I teach them how to make great first impressions so that they can go up to people and talk to them without worrying what to say. And as soon as they learn how to just give value to people, the conversation flows naturally. So if you're trying to working for a social life for a long time, but you didn't see any results you wanted to see, maybe you're doing something wrong here. Or if you're even trying, because you have to be consistent and go out in the world and apply these, because nothing just comes from watching YouTube videos. You might feel you're working on yourself, but if you don't put it into action and try it out in the real world, well, then you won't get any results. But it can also be overwhelming to put yourself out there. And if that is you and you have tried and you don't know how and where to start, then I have something cool for you. You can book a free consultation call with me. All you have to do is to click the link in the description. That will bring you to a page. Read what is on that page, because it's very important information for you to get started. And then on the bottom on that page, there's an application. Fill that out. That will take you 2 minutes. And then I know if and how I can help you out in your situation. So the call will be for free. So yeah, maybe talk very soon, and bye bye.